You know, when you get older, I mean, time just, it feels like it was June yesterday. Right?
Yeah.
And here we are 19 days from the end of the year. And what amazes me about it is how much people don't think about their lives. We're on autopilot most of the time. Is that right?
Absolutely. A lot of us are disconnected, going through the motions, and the thing that we keep saying is one day. One day I'm going to do that, and then you look up and you're like, how did I get to be this age? And I'm not where I intended to be. And so I think it is not by coincidence that you would have this topic at this point, as you said, at the end of a decade, because many of us need a wake-up call to say, what is it that is keeping me from the person that I was born to be? And a lot of times, even though we have oppression, we have discrimination, all of those things are real. And then there are also ways that we stand in our own way and stand on our wings. And so
Whoa. Wait. Stand on our, I never heard that before.
Yeah. We stand on our own wings, playing small. It's like when we had the new Miss Universe from South Africa say her advice, her advice to young women is to take up space. And many times we are shrinking, we're hiding, because what we have noticed is when people shine, they become a target. So many of us are afraid of being a target and don't want to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, and so we play it small and play it safe, but the reality is, while we feel safe, we're still frustrated. Right?
Dying in safety.
Dying in safety.
Which is a strange contradiction.
And the reality is, even when you try to play small, people will still come for you. Right? Right? You're like, I'm not even doing my full thing, and y'all coming for me. So then you might as well live out loud, because they're coming anyway. So for them not to be the deciding factor on what I do with my life.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful, yeah. That's rich. I love that. I love the notion of stop standing on your own wings.
Yeah.
Consider that stolen.
Take it. By Dr. Sean.
I give you credit for it the first 3 times.
Got it.
And then it's totally mine.
Yeah.
But having said that, can you talk to us a little bit about what it means in the literal sense?
Yeah.
Because I know people who are afraid to be alone and afraid to be in a relationship.
Yes.
And you kind of want to go, what the hell? How can you be
afraid of both?
Choose one.
Yeah.
So talk to us in literal terms what it means to be in your own way.
Yeah. So what it really is fundamentally is that we are trying to be safe. And when we have had experiences that left us vulnerable, that left us taken advantage of, that left us rejected or misused, it makes sense that I would try to come up with a strategy that would keep me safe. And what we end up doing is overgeneralizing. So we say, well, the time that I was like the head or spoke up on that project, people mistreated me. So now my overgeneralization is, I don't want to lead anything, y'all have it. But I'm sitting here frustrated because my ideas really are better than your ideas, right? So it's like I'm afraid to follow you and I'm afraid to lead it, because both things have their risk. And so to be great is to be willing to take risk.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
And one of the ways that we stand in our own way is by being something that we're not, is being a fake or a fraud. And it's kind of like with television, where they figure out like one show that works and then they model every show after that.
Right.
So that is what we do as individuals, is we notice like, who's the popular one, or who is the one people celebrate, or who is the one people say is beautiful, or who is the one that people say is smart.
That's good.
And then let me try to act like them, and I'm always going to be second best, because I'm an imitation of them, because I don't believe if I showed up as my greatness that would be sufficient.
And the harrowing part of it is we know it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We know it. We know that we're imitating someone.
Oh, absolutely.
We know that we're perpetrating a fraud. And even when the lie gets good and seductive, when nobody's looking, we still know.
Right. And the painful part is, then when we are in the presence of greatness, we either become intimidated or envious. You know, not recognizing when they say the sky is big enough for all the stars to shine, right? So it's like if someone walks in and they look kind of disheveled and they look down or they're quiet, then we'll conclude, oh, they have low self-esteem, let me encourage them. But if someone walks in looking fabulous, but they're also shy and quiet, then we say, oh, she ain't all of that. Right? Who she thinks she, right? We create a story because of our own admiration. Right? We admire you and feel small in your presence, and so we assume you must see us as small, and then we shrink.
Okay.
So it really is about healing my need for other people to give me my identity. Right? When I show up clear about who I am, then people can like it or not. But here's the beautiful thing is, for the most part, people like authenticity. Right? Like you could be a little quirky, you might be churchy, you might be artsy, whatever your thing is, but when it just feels genuine, then people are drawn to that.
They roll with it.
Yes.
They roll. I mean, a matter of fact, I'm going to go left field and then come back. That's how Donald Trump won the presidency.
Yes.
He was running against an inauthentic candidate who sort of measured everything by polls, and he was just ignorant. You know.
I'm just going to be myself, and even, I want to say, not even totally himself, but he played into people's fears.
Right.
And he presented, people believed his hype.
Right.
And that's why we have to always, we call it in church language, discernment of spirit. Right? That you have to be able to read the difference between people's hype and their truth. Right?
That's good.
Because we learn how to pitch ourselves, how to, people do that elevator talk in LA. Like you have to have your soundbite of who are you and what do you have to offer, knowing how to sell yourself and to be clear when someone is trying to sell you. Right? To not be so, as you said, seduced into the lie.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, it's what you're saying is powerful on so many levels. And it leads me to wonder, this may sound cliche, but I don't mean it to be, because to me there's a dimension of depth in it. How important is what you say connected to what you will become?
Yeah. So there is, in psychology, something called positive self-talk. And not just talking to yourself, but the thoughts that you think about yourself, they shape your behavior. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, our thoughts affect our feelings, and then they affect our behavior. It's a triangle, and they're interrelated. So the way I think about me is going to affect how I feel. And then how I feel is going to affect how I show up in a space, right? So if I'm going for a job interview and the whole ride over there, I'm like, they're not going to pick me. They are not going to pick me. They are not going to, right? And then I walk in with that, right? And so now it's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Even at clubs, I want to know if I'll give this away, but a young man was telling me when he sees a group of women, he picks the insecure one.
Wow.
Right? That it's an easier task. So he'll observe the group, who's in the in crowd, who's confident, smiling, who is everyone listening to, and then he said, and then there's always one kind of on the edge, right? Who becomes in some ways a mark. And so even, is she saying anything out loud? No. But my body language is telling on me, right? I have a big cousin who would always say, head up, shoulders back, right? She's like, if you're a woman in this family, you got to know how to walk, right? We walk, right? So so when you have that kind of training, I'm going to say, that kind of rearing versus if everyday people are telling you, you're not this, you're not that, then you embody it and people see that on you.
Right. I've often said, first of all, we should clap for that because that's real. That's totally real. I have said that when you know who you are, people can tell when you walk in the room.
Yeah.
That when you hold your fork differently, you drink water differently, right?
Yeah.
And when you know who you, it just affects. I was talking to a young man after one of my shows,
Yeah.
and I said to him, I said, what you don't realize, sir, is that you are affecting people without even opening your mouth. Mm-hmm. And he had no idea.
Yeah.
Because people can pick up on that sense of centeredness and groundedness.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what people want to invest in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. People want to be a part of success. So I saw a wonderful interview with Issa Rae, and she was saying how she had to have a shift in her mind because initially she kept looking for someone who would give her an opportunity, right? Give her a chance. And then when it became, let me just go and do my thing, then I walk around with something to offer. Because some of us exude what our young people would say, thirsty, right? So when you walk around thirsty, then people don't pick up on you having anything to offer, right? Versus when I have some clarity that I'm here to learn, to share, but I also, Intozaki Shange, the name means she who comes with her own things. And I just love that. They're like, when you show up, right?
Good.
I come with my own things.
That's good.
And but you have to know what you come with.
That's good.
And my things don't have to be somebody else's things, right? But being able to glory in my own package.
So listen, I stole your cell phone.
Yes, you did.
And but I'm gonna give it back to you because you have something called Tweets for the Soul.
Yes.
And I was hoping before because I have to throw to a break, and we're gonna bring out some guests, and you're gonna help them get themselves to the place where they're running in to the next decade. But I was hoping you might share a couple of your Tweets for the Soul.
Absolutely. So these are on Twitter, and then I put a collection of them together in a book on Amazon called Tweets for the Soul. So one of them having to do with relationships, very important, because you know that can sabotage your whole decade. All right. Okay, so that one is
Facts.
Facts. Facts.
Facts.
It is, I hope you find someone who speaks your language so you don't have to spend a lifetime translating your spirit.
Wow.
Right?
That's good.
So many times we hold on to someone who is not even a match because you want to have somebody. And then that's a way of standing on your wings. If you're in a relationship bored, playing small, walking on eggshells, that's standing on your own wings. If you can't have peace in your house, that's standing in your own wings, right? And so looking for, I have to know me to know if the person I am talking to speaks my language. I don't know if I don't know me, then how can I know what I like, yes? So make that commitment to yourself as you're going into this decade.
Give us one more.
All right.
So I can throw the break.
Yes. This one is, this is not the life you pictured, but here you are. You can still make something beautiful. Grieve, breathe, begin again.